Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Stryftek and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. Is it worth your time? On trial today, NEVA. Released in October 2024, this is Nomada Studios' second game following up their critically acclaimed GRIS, which I recently reviewed, link up at the corner, down below in the description. I do recommend you check it out to see where they started back in 2018 and how things have evolved. Going into NEVA, I was cautiously optimistic. I was worried it might lean heavily into the same abstract, emotionally charged ambiguity that defined GRIS. Not that that would have been bad, GRIS is a phenomenal experience, but I wasn't ready for another deeply introspective, metaphor-laden journey so soon. Thankfully, we got something a little different. While still emotionally charged, they've taken out most of the ambiguity and abstraction, instead leaving us with a main character and a story to follow, and honestly, it was a relief. You play as Alba, a young woman bound to a curious cub following a traumatic encounter with a dark force.
NEVA.
As their bond grows, the world around them begins to decay, poisoned by an ominous curse. You must learn to work together to break the curse threatening the world before it's too late. The story unfolds across the seasons, each bringing new challenges as the duo learns to survive and trust each other. You'll watch as NEVA grows and matures alongside you, learning new abilities as they bond with you. And it's the progression between you and NEVA that gives this game its emotional weight. The storytelling in NEVA is a masterclass in visual and musical narrative. There's no dialogue or text, it relies completely on its stunning visuals and music to convey its tale. The only words you'll ever hear is Alba calling out to NEVA. I've played a lot of 2D platformers, and I gotta say, this is one of the greats. The gameplay starts simple enough, easing you into the basic jumps and movement mechanics, but as you progress, the challenge ramps up beautifully. It seamlessly introduces you to new mechanics, like teaching your cub how to navigate obstacles, or pulling off double jumps with a dash, continually building on what you've already mastered. And just when you think you get the hang of it, NEVA throws in some curveballs with some cleverly placed collectibles. The same goes for the combat, but your combat power is tied to NEVA. The two of you become a devastating pair slashing through enemies. You can send NEVA to pin one of them in place while you take care of the other, or she'll just knock them off the cliff for you. And when she's not actively helping, she becomes a part of you, enhancing your attack, slashing with you. And what's brilliant here is that your combat power evolves alongside NEVA's growth, mirroring that bond you're forming, and thus enhancing the story. But I do have one gripe, because I always have at least one gripe. I wanted more. More combat, more platforming, tougher challenges, time trials, and extra mechanics. What they gave us is so exceptional it left me craving more, but I do understand why they kept it focused on the story, and adding too much may have detracted from its emotional impact, so I'll cross my fingers for a DLC. Visually, NEVA is breathtaking. The hand-painted watercolor aesthetic is simple yet stunning, and it always perfectly complements the game's emotional tone in that moment. Every frame, every area feels like a piece of art. Seriously, pause at any point and you have yourself a great desktop wallpaper. And then there's the soundtrack. It goes from haunting to beautiful to utterly unforgettable. The music doesn't just set the mood, it becomes part of the story. I mentioned earlier the only words in the game were you calling for NEVA. There's a dedicated button just for that. You use it to coax NEVA to come to you, to locate where she's ran off to, and a few other things.
NEVA. NEVA.
You only ever say her name, but it changes depending on the situation. And the amount of emotion that could be packed into a single word, a name, is staggering.
NEVA.
From love to laughter and terror and sorrow, it's something small, but honestly it ties the whole game together. So, is it worth your time? NEVA will only take you about 4 hours to complete, maybe 5 to 100% it. Right now it's about $20, but I have seen it as low as $15 in recent sales. But even at the $20 mark, it's a steal. Nomada Studios is an indie developer and they absolutely deserve our support. We've all seen how the video games industry is going, so where and when we can, we should support these indie developers. NEVA was an exceptional platformer that I do highly recommend, and I cannot wait to see what Nomada Studio comes up with next. My name's been Stryftek, and thank you for watching. If you made it this far, then the video must be worth your time, so like, subscribe, throw a comment down below, and I'll see you next time on Is It Worth Your Time?